Thank you for tuning in to All About the Girls, the podcast, where your host, me, Jenny Craig Brown, interviews incredible women to learn what powers them, what inspires them, and how they make our world a better place. Let's get to it. All right, everybody. Welcome to All About the Girls, the podcast, where this month we are featuring Sherri Ziller. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Very happy to be here.
Yeah. So, if you don't know Sherri, she is president and CEO at the Northwest Indiana Regional Development Authority. As I said off camera, huge title, very long, very important as well. But for most, probably, they don't even know what that means. So we can get into that a little bit as well.
Sure.
Just tell me just a little bit about you, your background, kind of where you grew up, and how you got to Northwest Indiana, and what you're doing.
Sure. Yeah. I'm so born and raised in Northwest Indiana. I've lived here my entire life. I'm from Hammond, so I grew up in Hammond, and I went to Clark High School, which is no longer there.
Okay.
So yeah, and then I went off to college. I went. And then I went back and I got my master's in education.
Got it.
So I like to have two kind of, a lot of people don't do this, but I thought, my thinking was I should have maybe two different disciplines so I have something that I can maybe fall back on one day.
Smart.
So yeah, and I wanted to be well-rounded. So I went and I did that, and I've lived a few places in Northwest Indiana. My husband and I and my son, we currently live in Crown Point.
Love it.
And I've been with the Northwest Indiana Regional Development Authority, just celebrated 17 years earlier.
Congrats.
Yeah, earlier this month. So
That's amazing.
Yeah, we've been around. That's actually how long we've been around. So end of 2005, beginning of 2006.
So you
is when
came
I
into the company as it was starting.
Yeah. The legislation passed. We were established September 2005, and then I was brought on March of 2006.
Wow.
So
for short, it's NWI RDA.
Yeah.
So we'll say that the RDA is kind of
RDA.
what how I always refer to it.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what the RDA was built for and what it does.
No, that's it's got a great history here. So here in Northwest Indiana, it's a great place to live, and we have a lot of assets here in Northwest Indiana.
Right.
But with that, we had a lot of underperforming assets. Mm-hmm. So like our Lake Michigan shoreline, absolutely beautiful. But access to our shoreline wasn't quite where it should be to attract people who are thinking, should I go to the Illinois side of Lake Michigan or should I go to the Indiana side? So we were just seeing with our tourism that most folks probably didn't even know that they could come to the Indiana side because of some obstacles that we were facing. And then we also have a commuter rail system that had been working just fine, but it hadn't been upgraded in a century.
Wow.
I believe it is. Yeah. So when you start looking at these things, and you're looking at, okay, how can Northwest Indiana be a game changer? We are right next to Chicago, the third largest economy in the United States, in the nation, the ninth largest in the world.
Holy
so
cow.
what are we doing? Right. Yeah. So we really started looking at this thinking, maybe we should look into capitalizing our connectivity to Chicago, and what would that do for our economy here? Mm-hmm. So we started looking into that. We hired a great team of outside consultants to help us with thinking about this sort of thing. But back in 2005, our legislature at that time, our General Assembly, they saw all that. They saw all of our potential. So they said, we really need an organization in Northwest Indiana to just focus on those prescribed items. These are your pillar areas. This is what you need to be focusing on. And really, it's all economic development.
What's going to develop the region?
What's going to just change the entire landscape. I know these are, buzzwords, but really what the thought was back then, what's going to change the entire landscape of Northwest Indiana for not just our generation, but generations to come.
Yeah.
So they thought, okay, well, we're going to create this entity. We're going to get some major funding for them. They will have the wherewithal to make these multi-million-dollar public decisions for our communities. So we've been doing that since 2005, and we've done 55 miles. We've revitalized 55 miles of shoreline. Congressman Visklosky, who's now chair of the Gary Chicago International Airport, that Marquette plan, I mean, that was our plan. He laid it out for us. So the funding was there, so we implemented it, and if you just drive all the way, Lake County and Porter County, you'll see that we're starting to mirror how Chicago looks, and we're starting to grab those folks that are now thinking, okay, why would I ever come to Indiana? They're looking and say, well, we have the same shoreline, and now you have access to it. Now it's been revitalized. Yeah. And now with the connectivity to Chicago, with the upgrades to the South Shoreline, which is most recent, what we're doing. Yeah, it just gets people, back and forth.
It's
a lot
easier
quicker.
now. Yep, it's easier. It's faster. And with all of those upgrades, there's more of a reason.
And we've expanded it. Hammond, Munster, Dyer. So, So these are the types of projects that the RDA, can work on. And we've built such strong relationships throughout the past 17 years. Wow. And, so it's always like, okay, what can we partner on next? What are the other big ticket items that we can do that fit into our enabling statute on things we're supposed to be doing? So we've done some pretty big projects out there.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
We've seen a pretty big difference too over the past 17 years.
Yep. And let's flash back a little bit. So you grew up in Hammond. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about your upbringing, your parents, your childhood.
Yeah, I think I had just a very normal childhood.
Siblings?
Yeah, I have one sister. Okay. Her name's Nicole. Ooh. Yeah, she's in the healthcare field, so we went two completely different routes. But it's a nice compliment though, because I am not a medical person at all.
Now you can call her with anything. Like, my son has this.
Yeah, instead of Googling it and getting scared that I have everything and I'm not going to make it, I just call her and say, these are the symptoms of whoever.
Is this a doctor's appointment, ER visit?
Yeah, and she's so good when it comes to that. She keeps me on the straight and narrow. So okay, that makes sense. So and she's really good at that sort of thing. So my upbringing, we lived by the shoreline actually. So we were on the Robertsdale side of Hammond. We grew up right by the Amtrak station.
So probably near and dear to your own heart to see all of these upgrades and all of this really cool stuff happening.
Yeah. Whenever Hammond asks me to come to a groundbreaking, because they used to when we were really focusing on their project or ribbon cutting. Those were the ones like. Okay, these are the ones because I've seen it. I've seen what it was, what it looked like, and then their vision that we just we helped to bring to life. So
incredible.
Yeah, and to be able to see that transformation, just even be a little part of that, was extremely. It's been extremely rewarding. Yeah, just to be able to see how that changes. But my childhood had my mom, my dad. My dad's a steel worker. Okay. He's retired now.
You really are like the cookie cutter Northwest Indiana family, it sounds like.
Yeah.
I love that.
My mom was more or less a stay-at-home mom. She would work in retail here and there, and she liked doing that. She wanted to make sure she raised us, So she
wanted to be around as much as possible, but this gave her an outlet a little bit.
Yeah. So she was home a lot during our younger years, but when we went to school, she wanted to do her own thing.
Yeah.
So
yay. I think that's important.
Yeah, they were very strong figures in my life. So
amazing. And how did you get into? You said you studied poli-sci. What made you want to go into that realm?
That is a great question. I'll tell you what it is. So I didn't go to college immediately after high school. I take that back. I did go to it was called Sawyer College back then. It was in Hammond. It then became Kaplan. Yeah, and then Kaplan's no longer there. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to learn a quick skill and make money, to be honest. So that's what I wanted to do.
I think a lot of people do
at
that age especially.
I was a really good student in high school, so I wasn't necessarily looking for the easy way out. I was looking to be independent. I wanted,
I love my own money.
I love my parents, but I kept seeing, like when I was a senior, I remember some people look back fondly at their senior year and they think, oh, I remember this, I remember that, I want to go back. And that was never me. I always thought, I can't wait to go and explore the world. I want to do things. I want to get out there and just learn things. So I went and I learned computers, and I'm very glad that I did that, because what that transitioned into was me teaching for Sawyer College. So here I am, 20 years old, right out of, just graduated from their program, and they're asking me to teach because a teacher couldn't finish her Microsoft Access class. I just learned that, and I'm certified in it, and now I'm terrified, but I'm like, okay. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this. Why not? I'm going to do this because I know how I learned it, and it's really good when they get it, they're like, aha moment. I thought, okay, if I can just do that for them, this is going to be a great experience. And I end up teaching for them for over a decade.
Really?
Yeah. It turned into very full time. And then, I loved it. Yeah. Higher education, just working with adults, getting them ready and it was all sorts of classes too at that point.
Okay,
it was,
that's awesome.
Career preparedness, academic strategies, even like networking and troubleshooting I dabbled in a little bit. Yeah. I don't do that anymore, so I can't fix your computer at this point. I might be able to help you with a Microsoft Word document, but those skills faded a little bit over the years.
Well, so, now it's like everything's growing at the speed of light. It's hard to keep too.
Yeah. So while I was doing that, I thought, okay, I don't have my bachelor's degree, and I have to, in my mind, I have to have my bachelor's degree because back then. You needed that to get a job. Yeah. You really did. Yeah, So I think it's a little bit different now. But back then I was like, that is something that I always knew I was going to do. So I went back a little bit later, and I thought, okay, what can I major in? And I majored in a few things. But what I was looking for is what am I weakest in? I know it's a weird way to look at it, but what am I? What do I?
Self-aware though, super smart.
What I want to learn something that I don't already know. So I was doing I did graphic design, and then for me I thought, okay, I love this, I really do, but I kind of knew it when I was going into it. When I was going through, I was like, okay, well, it's not very new to me, I guess. So then I took one poli-sci class, and I was like, oh. Yeah, I don't know anything about this. Okay. So then I was like, okay, I looked into
something
the major.
All new.
And then I thought, I'm going to do this, and maybe that's where I land after. I had no idea where I was going to land after graduation. So I started working on my bachelor's, really liked it, became my major, and right before I graduated, a year maybe, I think I was going into my senior year, the RDA was formed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How perfect.
So I'm teaching, I'm finishing my studies, and they have one opening. There's 2 employees, the executive director at that point in time, and then they needed one more. So I went and I applied, and Tim Sanders, he hired me, and it was great. It was very much a startup at the
it's probably this really cool hey, we're starting this thing, and we really hope it's going to work, and we really want to make big change, and it's the excitement that you can feel at that. That's incredible.
Oh yeah, for sure. So we get the board of directors come on board, and we start working with folks and just start learning, saying, all right, and we navigated it, and it was challenging, and because I think everyone thought that they, here's what you need to do, here's what you need, and it was just managing everyone's expectations and ideas, and then we grew over time,
And then here you are.
Here I am. Yeah.
We just turned 14 a couple days
congratulations.
back. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, and I think, was it the original CEO was Bill Hanna?
The original executive director was Tim Sanders.
Got it.
And then Bill Hanna became president and CEO. He was there, I want to say 11 years. Then under him, he made me his chief operating officer. So I did that for 8 years. And then when he left in 2020 to go run the Dina Barbara White Foundation, that's how I transitioned into president and CEO. So
perfect.
About 2 years now.
He is... Other than Chris just talked about this morning. We were reminiscing and looking back for our birthday, and he just mentioned this morning that Bill is the first person outside of his wife that he told about this company. It was somebody that he didn't know very well at all, but he knew, okay, I think I can trust this guy with some information, and I think I can trust his opinion really well.
Oh yeah.
And so super intelligent guy, and so he actually, those two had a conversation before Chris launched this. So he's the literal OG of the company.
That's a great story.
So I think you guys have been tied to us literally since we were both little babies.
And he's always spoke so highly of, both you and Chris and your establishment and what you guys have been able to do and grow over time, what impact that you've had on the region here.
Thank you.
So, yeah. And right, to know Bill is, it's a good thing to be able to know somebody like that. Because he's always going to guide you in the right direction. So I will,
whether he likes with all of those people that I can.
Right, yeah.
Those types of humans.
Whether he likes it or not, I still call him and say, Bill. Okay, I need your advice on this. Yeah. He's happy to always give it to me. And after I talk to him, I always think, okay, all right, this is right. I'm now guided, and I know what to do next. So. Yeah.
I think we all have those kind of mentors in our lives that are, really important to us, and we can always count on their advice. And I think the best ones of those people in our lives are the ones that that they don't mind you calling. And so, he's just going to always accept your calling, always be able to give you that advice. And I think that's really important to have those people.
For sure.
So, do you have any women in your life that are much like that, like where they're a mentor or they've really greatly impacted who you are or how you became you?
Yeah, my mom, and who we lost earlier this year, January 3rd.
Sorry
Oh no, thank you. But she was very impactful in my life, and kind of getting me to, have the confidence and think about things, about how the decisions I make and how I, should live my life. And,
Right.
she was a really strong force when it came to that. In fact, she was the one who, when I told her, like, Mom, they offered me a, part-time teaching job. That's crazy, right? She goes, no. She says, I always thought you should help people. You have that. And I never saw that in me,
Okay.
So here it is. She's like, I always knew that you have to be doing so. You have to have an impact on people's lives, no matter what you're doing. So she didn't mean it. She
knows you better than anyone.
Yeah. So she helped me to see my potential. So what I try to do, and I know there's this whole big movement, and I'm 100% behind it. Like, we have to lift women up here.
100%.
It's a strange world out there, and but I think as much as we can be there for one another and just share experiences and really help them, because I didn't get to where I am without hard work, of course, but there was a little bit of luck in there, just on who I've met.
I love that.
Yeah, just I'm being perfectly honest, like who I've met along the way. And they see something in you. So when I see something,
it's you being you and other people noticing and recognizing it, but you have to run into those people to have that happen.
Yeah. And if I'm in a position where I can help them, I would say, okay, I will help you with that, because so many people have been so kind and generous when it came to getting me to where I'm at. And you don't forget those sorts of things.
Yep.
So my mom always had, like, we always looked at things, those kind of things, a little bit differently, but it is nice when, someone who knows you so well tells you, like, this is, you whatever you're doing. But she did admit, like, maybe not the healthcare field. Let's just be clear here. Like, that's for your sister.
That's for her.
She's like,
that you're not headed that direction.
But and then she says, you really can be working to make a difference because you have that passion in you to do that. So
it's awesome to have people in your life that have known you that well. Obviously your parents always know you the best, but I think it's good to have those people that can just tell you about you when maybe you can't. That's really cool.
And there's probably 100 other women out there that have helped me, but whenever I talk with someone, things stick with me, so I'll remember things that they've said, and I'll try to help other people that way too. So hopefully I've had somewhat of a positive impact on other people's lives too.
I'm certain. And I think you're right. Like, there's this movement now where we've got a lot of things happening in Congress and such that tell us what we're going to do when it really stinks. And so I think that has kind of created this new mission. I think it was already there, but I think that kind of fueled that fire a bit to start lifting others up and start focusing on one another. I think we as women have been fine at saying, hey, we're in this together.
Yeah.
Let's lift one another up. But this has lit a new fire, and I think it's just so much more powerful, and you have to do that so much more and so much more loud, and I think that's really important right now.
That's the upside for things like that happen around us, that it really does have the tendency to bring us together. You know, put your differences aside, you know, and
let's not care about the politics right now. Let's run.
We're in this together.
Yeah,
So,
let's fight together. Yep.
Yeah, and it
I
brings you
completely
closer.
agree.
Yeah.
It really does.
Different perspectives.
Yeah. So you're with the RDA, you mentioned husband and son.
Yes.
So how did we get there? You're married. You have one kid, correct?
Yes, we have one son. So I'm married to Zach Ziller, and we got married in 2010. So we're celebrating 13 years in
Congrats.
May. Yeah, we met at a New Year's Eve party, and he tells everyone it's a blind date, and I disagree with that. So we're gonna this is gonna be, you know, an age-long debate between he and I. Well, we're not gonna say eye to eye on this. We did have a mutual friend, you know, others weigh in, but we had a mutual friend who thought, hey, I think they should meet. I think that they would, you know, make a good couple. So they threw a party, and we both said yes, and we met. And then after that, you know, it was, all right, so are we going to date? What are we going to do here? But we did decide, like, okay, yeah, let's give this a go. But he calls it a blind date.
And you're like, we weren't technically supposed to be dating. It wasn't a date. We ended up blindly meeting each other.
Yeah.
A meet cute, if you will.
Yeah, there's got to be a better name for it. But and then we like I said, we married a few years later, and then we had our son in 2013. His name is Robbie. He's in 4th grade, and he is awesome. He's an awesome kid. We really did get lucky. So we just had the one. We planned on having more, but you know that.
It's hard.
Well, it is. It is hard.
Hard.
It is hard. But you know, he was colicky, so you know, when you don't sleep for 8 months, that kind of makes the decision for you. Like, you know what? Maybe he's perfect. So you know, we're gonna put all of our attention onto him, and we've been very blessed as a family.
Perfect. No need to try again.
He is a very funny kid. He has a great sense of humor. He's always making us laugh. He's very quick-witted. Gets him in trouble sometimes, but and he loves his friends. He just, you know,
And is he more like you, more like dad, a little bit of both?
I see both of us.
Really?
Yeah. Like sports wise, he takes after his dad a lot more when it comes to that. But just like the way he thinks about things sometimes. I think, gosh, yeah, like that's how I process. That's how I would process that.
Okay, like you can relate to it so well, you know.
Yeah, and
awesome.
You know, so when he gets his attitude, that's 100% me,
okay.
Because I see that coming back to me, and I think, oh gosh, yeah, that's like a mirror image right there. So it is funny how much they pick up on. So
I completely agree. Some of my nieces will say stuff, and I'm like, "That sounds like your mom."
Yeah,
that's
spot on. Exactly, spot on. Yeah. Apple did not fall too far.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
And we live in Crown Point. We have 2 dogs. We have a boxer. We have a Great Dane. And we have a nice little slice of land where we live. And
do you like more of the rural feel?
Mm-hmm.
Because Crown Point's got that. It's perfect because it has a little bit of that still, and then still has, you know, this really awesome kind of downtown area too. It's a really cool combo.
We're 5 minutes from downtown, and where we live, you'd never know it.
I love that.
Yeah, so we got lucky.
Perfect middle ground.
We got lucky when we found this place. Our friends actually moved there. They were former neighbors of ours, so they always joke. We always joke around. They always say that we followed them there. And you know, and that's fine.
That's fine.
You say whatever you want, because we found we love our house. We love our, you know, we're on an acre and a half, and it's beautiful. So
good.
Yeah.
Good. That's awesome.
We love it there.
And just diving into your career a little bit, and you mentioned it, I think, a little already, of just kind of how that process changed from teaching to getting into the RDA to moving up within the RDA. When you began your career, did you think it would be where and what it is today? Or how maybe different is that?
Probably not. I mean, you know, I knew that I wanted to work. Like, for just keep it very simple. Like, I knew I was going to, get a 9-to-5 job, and that's what I was gonna do. And I didn't know where it was gonna take me. So I could have stayed in education. I thought maybe I might do that, and go. And I, maybe, in a few years, if I, want to explore something else, I always have that under my, I have the teaching experience. Maybe that's something to do,
be a professor,
part-time. Something like that. No, I did not know, if you would have asked me 17 years ago, if, hey, Sherri, do you think you're going to be in economic development, working to develop Northwest Indiana? I would have said, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know.
No, absolutely not.
That's all foreign to me. So, but to be able to, I feel like it's a gift, so I have to, I just wanted to make the best of it. So, when we were a startup company, it was, learning everything, and the skills that I did have, I brought that, and I kept learning more and more skills and meeting people. Tim and Bill both actually were very good at putting me out in the public.
Okay.
They didn't want me in the office. They said, this is Sherri, we want you to know her, and I think that helped immensely. That helps to build, the trust. When I eventually start working with our communities one-on-one, it's like,
they know you,
we know Sherri,
they trust you, and can count on you, and know who you are as a person.
Yeah, just like you. Like, everyone knows who you are, and you're like the go-to person, and if you're not, then they know who to go to. So just that name recognition is really important. Yep. So I always thought, that was really good of both of them to be able to do that. For
super smart. Same thing. They're seeing in you what maybe you don't even see yet, and they're saying, let's foster that and let's grow.
Yeah, and I'm learning. And I'm learning from great leaders out there, and what they're doing. And I'm listening, and and I'm trying to come back. And I'm like, okay, well, I heard so and so say this, and this sounds like a great idea. And how can we make this work? So I do try to.
That's so important in the community. We just talked here recently. I did a life on the road kind of day, on the road day, and I was just dropping off some kind of cool swag and stuff like this for some people in the region, and kind of prepping for All About the Girls, the annual event, and all of this. And I ended up that day on the road just running into, seeing, or chatting with, or stopping by offices of just so many great humans, whether they're connections of mine, now new connections of mine because I met them that day, whatever it is. And that's the key, but you have to get out, right?
Yeah.
And I think them seeing that, pushing you out, you saying, let's do this, I think all of that's super important because it builds who you are, it builds your comfort with doing that. Like,
exactly.
A lot of people aren't comfortable just saying, hello, I'm Sherri. Like, that's a lot for some people. And so it's just getting more comfortable with that, and all of the things that could maybe ensue in that meeting of, oh, you work for the RDA. I bet it's probably not very negative, but you never know. And so just getting out there and getting in the public eye gets you used to it.
It's I mean, we've come a long way. I think when the RDA was created, most people didn't understand.
Right.
And they just said, well, why? Why is this organization? You're brand new to Northwest Indiana. Who are these new players? What are they doing? How are we different than what's already happening out there? So there was that learning curve, and it was challenging at the beginning. And I would say, just through the strong leadership that we had at the RDA, that we were able to overcome that for the most part. Because nowadays, there used to be, so I would do speaking engagements early on, talk about getting me out there. So they'd be like, go do that speaking engagement. I'm like, okay.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
As I do the sweat through my shirt here, it's not a big deal.
Exactly. So I remember asking, years ago, saying, okay, who knows what the RDA is? And I would not get a lot of hands.
No, that's why I brought it up so early, is because I think you're right. There's a lot of people that don't know. So early days, I can only imagine that was tough.
Yeah. And now though, I guess it depends on the audience. Now they're just like, you did the train. So Bill had his legacy of getting the train.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that is a great legacy to have. But that's how they say, like, oh, okay, you worked with your partners on all levels. You worked with NICD, you worked with the state of Indiana, you worked with all the communities to get the funding there. Congressman Viscosky's office was huge in that.
Yeah.
There was, so many people.
Yep.
And they associate that with, like, wow, that's the type of projects that, when you can make a good case for that. We had to make a case for it. It wasn't as if it was just, like, oh, okay, let's just do that. We had to make the business case. We had to talk about what is it going to do? How is it going to change for Northwest Indiana? How does it how does it impact the entire state?
Yeah.
What are we trying to do here? So I think, after we made the case to them and we said they decided to be partners on all sorts of levels, we thought, okay, we're gonna do this. I mean, Bill and I were just like, this might actually happen. And then the next legislative session, we go back and we say, okay, well, that was Westlake. Can we do double track? We can make the same case.
Yeah.
And they said, okay, all right, you can do double track. And we said, okay, all right. Third piece of the puzzle, we need development. We need tools to do development here in Northwest Indiana. We wanted to be able to put our communities in a position where they weren't so maybe reactionary to development, meaning, if a developer comes in and just says, well, this is what I would like to do in your community, and the community might, say, okay, yeah, we don't want to lose you, so they might assume a little bit more of the risk than, say, the developer. So I think as of 2017, actually Representative Helslager and a few others, they passed legislation to allow the RDA to implement these what we call transit development districts. And essentially what it does is it generates revenue in each of our communities where there's a train station or will be a train station. And we're able to use those funds right back in the community. So, if Hammond's generating it, it's Hammond's money.
Great.
So it'll flow through the RDA, and we'll now work with them on the development they want to see. So now they're much more proactive.
Yeah, because they can be confident it's more up their alley. It's what they're looking to have in their backyard.
Yeah, because all of our communities have the vision. They have the plan. What we're doing, they know their communities best. What we're doing is we're just saying, how can we bring that to life? And we have the funding now to help you do that. So what is it you want to see? So we work with MKSK, we work with Policy Analytics, we work with KPMG, and we really get into the fabric of our communities, and that has been extremely rewarding. Because you walk into these communities and they know us. They're like, oh, RDA's here, and let's see what you have for us today.
Okay.
And, it's always a positive. It's always a positive
fantastic
meeting. So we look at what they have in the pipeline. We look and say, okay, well, this is probably the best potential for growth here. Let's do this. Let's do that. We get a plan together, and then the funding's going to start flowing in here for that particular program, right? 2024, and I cannot wait. Because we're seeing,
a lot of rumblings, we hear a lot of talking, so I think we'll start seeing, and it's going to come to life.
And you already actually are starting to see this, which is, I think, pretty phenomenal. And that was that business case we built for the state and others, saying, the return on investment is going to be huge here. It's going to be we're projecting $2.7 billion in private investment, and so cities like Hammond and Michigan City, and I'm sure I'm leaving a few others out, but right now, before the train is even done with construction, before double track is even laid, before the districts, some have been established, but there's it's not generating income right now.
Right.
That's in 2024. Hammond has 3 multifamily projects going on right in their downtown, so right by the train station. Michigan City, they have the parking garage,
it's crazy right
and
now.
they
It's
have
amazing.
all just sorts of development going on with their multifamily stuff. And I think we added this up the other day. So just those 2 communities alone, with the train not even being finished yet, or the districts even half of them aren't even done, and the ones that are done are not accruing the revenue just yet. We're already $400 million towards the $2.7 billion goal.
Wow.
That is pretty phenomenal. Through a pandemic, we were able to do that.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, we ran the numbers. We worked with Policy Analytics. We worked with the best in the state, and we said that this is going to happen. And it took a little bit of faith on we're asking for a pretty big partnership there, and I'm just so pleased at everything that's happening now. And I think
really incredible
I think it's on the upswing. I think we're going to keep seeing once the train is actually finished with construction. I mean, there's just so much talk now. Our communities, they're bursting at the seams. They're they're and in some points they're actually turning away development, and they haven't been in that position to do that before. So
that's incredible.
Yeah.
And how do you feel? So I know one of the things I often think about the RDA is, I guess probably economic development as a whole, is it's very male-dominated field or industry, if you will.
Yeah.
I think that's improved even since I've been in this world, so 10 years, immensely, but I do still think it's pretty male dominated. Tell me about that, or any other significant adversity that you've had to overcome in your time, just in the work field in general, not necessarily even just the RDA, because I think they're a pretty incredible group of humans, so I don't think you probably deal within the building much at all with that. But tell me about some adversity or obstacles you've had to overcome.
Yeah, there's always going to be adversity wherever you go. But yeah, I would say, and this was with, teaching too. It was just a little bit different. That was probably more of like an age thing. I think when you're younger, people know it and they look at you like, I was doing this when you were in diapers. They'll say things like, I still get that to this day.
I'm certain.
Yeah.
Well, you're young and you look even younger, and I think all of those things is just gonna put you in that world probably a little bit.
And so
and the crew that you work with is much older, probably a little bit more as well.
Yeah. So I think respect is earned. It's not given, and sometimes you have to work a little bit harder for it.
Right.
So, and sometimes you just let them be on their own path, and you just keep going towards the direction.
Because it's maybe not you. It's
Yeah.
maybe them. Maybe they're just a little jaded on trusting people in general, right? So when you come against that situation, it doesn't always mean anything about you.
Right.
It's just sometimes that person just doesn't let a lot of people in, or they just have this mindset because of 10 things that happened in their own life.
Yeah.
So you really can't trust that this person feels negatively about me. They might feel negatively about new people, or whatever that situation is.
You really have to train yourself, or maybe you're just like this already, to just realize that it's not about you.
Yeah.
It's
And
oftentimes not about you. So it's likely something that, maybe they are struggling with, and, you can try to talk to them about it. But I think mostly, you need to stay focused, know, and you need to remember why you're doing what you're doing. And you're going to have bad days for sure, but you just have to, call your mentors when you're having a bad day, and just be reminded, that what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing, and don't focus on that. And it's hard to do. I'm not saying it's easy. Of course, I have my days where I'm just like, I've been doing this 17 years, and I'll still get a comment here and there, and you don't try not. If you do let it bother you, just don't let them see it. That's anything that any mother would say to you. Just
you're
don't
exactly right.
And my dad too. Like don't let them see what bothers. My dad actually growing up, he would always say this: don't let anybody know your weakness, any of them. And I hear it, like when you're a kid and your parents keep saying things over and over again.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, I'm not processing it necessarily.
You don't even
I'm like, what is my weakness? I'm 8 years old. I don't know what my weaknesses are.
I have so many. I'm 8.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. So they need to know I don't know how to tie my shoe. Right. So, but that advice has always stuck with me.
Yeah, and then as you grow, that forms into meaning more and more and more, and now probably something you remember often.
Because there are people out there that are going through their own struggles, and they'll look at that and they'll remember that. And, you gotta do your best.
That's great advice.
Just smile and just say, okay, all right, I understand where you're coming from. And I think, if you're able to do that, that's how you really build consensus here, at least in Northwest Indiana, where I can, speak from experience. If we all let our personalities get in the way, we're not going to get very far, so you got to kind of be able to manage that, and it's not easy. There's such strong personalities here.
And we all have them, and they're all so different. And I think we had that job as youngsters, right? Like the serving job, or that job with the cubicle where everybody's on the phone all the time, or that job in the service industry, whatever it was. That it was like, okay, well, we've got our friends that we work with, and then there's these people that maybe I don't like that much. Like there's that guy that annoys you, or there's that girl that's really loud, or whatever it is. And sometimes I feel like I was the girl that was really loud. But I think, same thing, who cares, right?
Yeah,
and just
we are who we are, right?
You didn't then, even in those young days when we're 16, 18, 20, whatever, you didn't quit your job because you didn't like Bill or John or whoever it was, Susie, that you were working with. You just said, yeah, I don't like them. And you move on. And I think as we get older, sometimes that doesn't go away as it should. And it's like, don't forget, like, we used to do that all the time back then. Let's do it again. Like, you don't have to like everybody. It's just
you don't. No,
it's your job,
you
it's your
don't
community,
have
whatever it is.
You do not have to like everyone, but it doesn't always have to be a fight either.
Right? Yeah.
You know,
it's just something that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
It's okay.
You have one life, and it's, you know, you have a certain amount of energy. What are you going to focus
Love
on?
that.
You know, so it's like, and I try with my staff. I've always tried, you know, to instill this in them, because I do see them getting bothered by certain things, and then I have to say, okay, I know that person, or I know this situation happened, and maybe happened to me. I say, here's what I've learned from that. So just make it into a learning experience. Let them know they're doing a great job, and keep going, and don't let don't let the outside interferences knock you down and knock down your confidence. You know, and I think because it's tough, right? I mean, economic development. It is a tough job that, you know, maybe people, every job is tough, right? So we have our own set of, you know, difficulties and challenges and obstacles, you know, but we're all, I think we're all trying to do the same thing here, you know.
We're
it's
all
like,
working towards a common goal.
We are, and I feel like, just from what I've seen over the past, say, 17 years, that what I'm seeing now is we're really, Northwest Indiana, we are rowing in the same direction now, you know, and I know a lot of that I attribute to my predecessor and his leadership and what he was able to do, and me being able to learn from him. So I try to embody that during my time here. But, you know, I always look at what we're doing here as like, we are so lucky to be able to do what we're doing. We're only here for a little while. We might as well, you know, leave Northwest Indiana better than we found it. Yeah.
And how did you, so you mentioned earlier, you kind of grew within the RDA, and I think you said COO to CEO and president. Yeah. How does that transition take place in a place like the RDA? Was that tough for you? Was there, everybody's on board cheering behind you? Was it a little bit of a mixture of a crowd? How did you deal with that? Because I think that can be hard. I grew within this company similarly, and there was along the way a couple that put up a fight. There was a couple that were like cheerleaders for me. You know, our founder Chris, or Cammie upstairs, she's one of my right hands, and like cheerlead the whole way. But I did have a mixture of that crowd. How about for you? How was that?
Same, Jenny. Yeah, I mean, I could not sit here and say that 100% everybody was behind even being promoted to COO, the Chief Operating Officer. You know, I think that everyone, again, has an opinion on where the RDA should be going and what, you know, who should be taking on these leadership roles. And, but I mean, ultimately, you know, we had a great board of directors, and, you know, Bill Hanna, he said, that's who I work well with. You know, I see something in her, and soon enough, you all are going to see it if you don't already. And so I became COO, and I was 9 months pregnant.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And I remember, so that's a lot of stress when you're carrying, you know, especially your first board. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I remember the board meeting where the board voted to make me the COO. And I was like, I was out to here, and I thought, oh gosh, like I was so excited, and I just thought, wow, I am ready to have a baby. Like my whole life is changing. And
your career is changing. You're having a baby soon. Like literally everything's flipped.
It was a lot to manage at one time, but it was such a happy time in my life. And because I knew, I was like, okay, I can do this. I felt really comfortable with it, and I thought, okay. And yeah, there were a few that weren't as supportive as I would have liked them to be. But at that point, I had to just say, okay, they don't know me that well. Then maybe that's what it is. Yeah. So you know, whenever I had the opportunity with those particular individuals, I would just make sure that, you know, I would, you know, talk to them and just have conversations and just get to know each other.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, I think. We pride ourselves in this office very much on we always say, just have that conversation. Mm-hmm. Because most often, if two people are on the opposite sides of that fence, if you get them in a room and enforce a conversation, I think that oftentimes, especially when it's calm and respectful, you don't even have to come out and agreeing, but you can come out saying, I see what you're saying, I see your side much clearer, and most often, I think we've worked out 90% of our issues by just having an uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah.
And I think I've probably mentioned before on our podcast, this podcast, but I have a friend, her name's Sharina. She's my best friend. I've known her for darn near 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And she's the one that taught me, like, just rip off the Band-Aid. Have the uncomfortable conversation. Of course, that's been reinforced in my life since then. But I was really kind of against that, or just maybe too shy. I guess I'm too uncomfortable with the uncomfortable, probably is the best way to encapsulate it. But you have the uncomfortable conversation, I feel better immediately because I've said those things that I needed to say. If they're delivered respectfully and well, then usually we both feel better. So just have those conversations, and I think it's so smart.
That's exactly right.
Because then they're not gonna be on your side today,
No.
but they're gonna understand your side today, and that's really
That's really all that's really all you're after once
Yeah.
you rip off that Band-Aid, just to say, okay, yeah, we may not agree, but I just want you to understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah, take a breath and just calmly
Exactly.
communicate that.
Yeah, exactly. And that is, I would say, how 90% of our issues are resolved.
Yep.
And
Totally agree.
you know, that's in all aspects of life. But when it comes to personal stuff, of course, when it comes to the work stuff, yeah, just call them up. You know, sometimes it just takes a phone call,
Yeah.
and they might not even be expecting it.
Oh yeah.
And then they might want to talk about it too.
Yeah.
You know,
And most do, but it's just that
You gotta-
kick that you have to do
it's
to
that
get
fear.
it started. Yeah.
It could be that fear of just, you know, people say, I'm not a confrontational person. Well, it doesn't have to be confrontational. If it
And
gets
I think most think it
confrontational,
will be.
yeah, and if it gets confrontational, then one or both of you aren't ready to talk yet.
Yeah.
And then you just have to say,
I
okay,
think they think it
all
has
right,
to be that
let's
angsty.
let's wait for, you know, emotions to settle a little bit, and then we're gonna try this again when we're ready.
Yeah,
When we can
really
talk
smart.
about this rationally. Yeah, and that's something else that I've seen in Northwest Indiana over the past, you know, time that I've been here is, yeah, people are just like, they want to talk about things,
Good,
you know, they don't want to
yeah.
fight. Like when I first started, you know,
Lots of
there was like, oh my gosh, like what's happening here? And over time, though, I was like, okay, all right, you know, but people
much
still get
better.
upset, you know,
Mhm.
and you just a part of life, and you got to deal with it because chances are they don't have all the information,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
and you just got to try to reach the goal and then
Yeah.
see if you can get there. Yeah.
I completely agree. So I'll flash back to something you said just briefly. So we often talk about work-life relationship. I think balance is an overused word. I think sometimes I say work-life balance because I don't know how else to say it. But you just mentioned, you know, you were 9 months pregnant,
Yeah.
getting offered a COO position. You said, I know I can do this. And you're right. But you're also 9 months pregnant.
Yeah.
So you have this baby and you're coming into this new position. How did you make that work? As you said, I know I can, and obviously you did. How did you make that work? And then how do you continue to make that work even now?
Yeah. So balance is a funny word, right? It's probably overused. I don't know that.
That's why I tried to say
Yeah.
relationship, because I think you're right. It's almost overused. There is no balance
Because
for most
if you
people.
ask one side, they'll say, "Well, I want more of her," and if you ask another side, like, "No, I want more." Like,
Yep.
I don't know that I've balanced it correctly, you know, but I did what I could, and
Yeah.
I did the best that I always
And if
had.
the balance works for everybody, then I think that
Yeah.
it is the correct
And it's gonna some days
relationship.
it's not gonna be, you know, it's
Yeah.
gonna be 90% here, 10%
Yep.
here, and
But that'll flip eventually as well.
yeah. It just depends on, you know, where the needs are and what I can do and the
Yep.
energy that I have to, you know, put myself in the situation to, you know, satisfy everyone. And you're not going to be able to satisfy everyone. And I'll
Right.
tell you what, I will ask for help.
Amen.
When I see, you know, people that are, you know, like, oh no, I can do it. Well, you can, but you're going to run yourself down, and then you're going to be no help to anybody. You're
Yep.
going to be, and you're going to need to be taken care of, you know, so it's okay to say no, and it's okay to ask for help. And I learned that I tried to do that a lot before I had my son, but after having a baby on top of what was happening, you know, in my work life, it was okay to call my mom. It was okay to call my in-laws and say,
Yeah.
I need you to come over for 2 hours.
Because I have to sleep.
I need to.
It has been 8
Or
months.
or just sit in a room and just not, you know, just
think,
be
or
by
just
myself.
type or something.
Or do something, or respond to email, or whatever it is. So, and I'm still like that to this day because I'm really big on personal health.
Yeah.
I've seen people just try to take on too much, and I can see how they think that they should do that. But really what it does is it's going to wear you down at some point. So, that's the advice I try to give most people. Just, it's okay to and it's okay to say no. Say no to that.
Yeah.
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 There's nothing
no.
wrong with it.
Say you can't
and
ask
if
for help.
there is something wrong, if someone did see something wrong with that, then, that's on them.
Yeah, and then they're probably not the person that you should be giving that time to anyway.
Yeah. And then if you want to have that conversation with them, see how
the
it's coming full circle.
conversation.
You can have that conversation on why I said no to you. But
Yes.
it's,
Smart.
I need to be my best self in order to be what everyone needs me to be.
Yep.
So
This, I think, similarly, this is a movement that's become more popular probably in the last 3 or 4 years. That I probably, if you talk to 21-year-old Jenny, would have laughed in your face and told you that you're being a baby. Almost 40-year-old Jenny fully understands it. I think I ran way too hard in my young years. I think that's good because that's when you can do it really well without much, backlash. But I just never slept. I always was working. I worked 2 jobs from like 16 to till I shortly after I started here.
Yeah.
Most of the time within there, I worked 2 jobs. And it was just so much, or it's full-time work and full-time college, whatever it is, and it's just too much. And so I think now there's this movement to say, your mental health is more important to that. Your well-being is more important than that.
Yeah.
And that kind of, those that never stop working and never sleep are heroes, it's just really kind of gone to the wayside a lot more, where I love a high-functioning person and a high-producing person, but those that do it realistically. And I think that I love to see that that's much more popular now.
Yeah.
Really
I think actually the pandemic changed that for
I agree.
me, because
Me too.
Before the pandemic, I would go to work sick all the time, and I
Same.
didn't even think about it.
Nope.
I stay out of my office. I'm okay. Yeah, I'll try not to touch anything, and I'm in there, hacking and just all these things.
Yeah.
And and if I'll admit, if somebody said, "Well, I'm sick today, I'm not coming in," I would say, "Well, why not?"
The eye roll.
I would think,
You're like,
and I think, why can't you come? And looking back on that, just this, that pressure that I put on myself, and just expecting that out of everyone in my life, it was just, it changed the way I looked at it. I thought, you know what, people do need a break. They need a break sometimes.
And if you're sick, stay home.
You're sick. Now I'm just like, was that a sneeze? Let's
Unless
try
you're eating a lot of pepper, I think you should go home.
And the state, honestly, we're a quasi-state agency, so they did actually implement 2 remote work days a week, so that's been very helpful. If you it's optional, if the employees want to take that.
But you can utilize them at that rate.
I think if that's, if there are days where they feel like they could be more productive at home, and more for their mental health and their well-being, then I'm fine with that. So the pandemic changed my complete view.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And I don't think I lowered my standards. I just adjusted them to reality. So, and I feel, I know you love your staff, and I love my staff too. I think we probably both think we have the best staff, and I'm sure we do, because we just work so well together.
Yes. Yeah.
And what we're able to do with 3 of us, I mean, it's pretty incredible.
3.
Yeah, there's 3 of us right now. Yeah, there's been 3 of us for a while. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
And that's incredible because you guys make it happen. But I think that's what it takes, is that communication and that trust in one another to make the right decisions.
Yeah. So, they get what they give, and they give so much. So it's like, if they get worn down, they're not going to be any use to themselves or to the organization. So we've adjusted some things because of maybe not because of the pandemic, just things that we've learned from it.
Yeah.
And
since then we've adjusted because of what we learned. Yeah. That's smart.
So.
All right, are you ready for the quick response questions?
I don't know.
Okay, so these are fun questions.
Okay.
But you have 5 seconds to answer or you get buzzed. Everyone's heard the buzzer, but here it is. So hopefully we won't have to use it.
Okay, all right.
So, okay, first up. Would you rather have telekinesis, the ability to move things with your mind, or telepathy, the ability to read minds?
Oh, to read minds, for sure.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
This is an interesting one. I always love people's answers because almost everybody says, "Oh, I don't want to read people's minds."
It's like curiosity killed a cat.
I know.
But like, some people wear it on their face, and like I know what they're thinking. Oh no, I would love to know what they're thinking.
Wear it
but
on
the
my face.
problem, I don't want them to know what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it can't be flipped. Or else
Yeah,
never do
I want to.
that.
Yeah, what you're thinking.
Love that.
Not I'll get in trouble if people know what I'm thinking.
If the old you could see the new you, what would the old you say?
What would the old me say to the
New you?
To the new me? Oh gosh, I don't know. They would say, I'm very, keep going,
Yeah?
girl. You got this, keep going. I'm very proud of you.
That's a good one.
And you're not done yet.
Ooh, you're not done yet. That's the perfect. I love that. Would you rather be chronically underdressed or overdressed?
Underdressed.
Yeah?
Maybe. Yeah. I don't like
You always look top of the line fashion,
thank
though.
you.
Really?
Thank you. But I'm a minimalist though, so that's why I answered that
Okay.
way. And I don't like to be constricted, so don't take that answer the wrong way. Like as soon as I came in here, take the coat off, things like that. So yeah, I would say probably a little bit underdressed because I think it's more comfortable that way.
Got it. Okay. Love that. What woman would you want to have on your side in a battle royale?
In a battle royale.
So like a fight to the death.
Oh gosh, like a celebrity, like
anyone in the world.
The first one I'm thinking of is Angelina Jolie. Like
Ooh,
I would feel very safe with her.
Yeah. You're like, go girl, I'll be over here.
I'm okay. Yeah, you got this because I'm just gonna. Yeah, you've been through a lot and you've seen a lot, and
I feel like you're gonna handle
You've
this.
drank blood before, so I think no one's gonna mess with you. So
has she really drank blood before?
Yeah, I think with Billy Bob.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
It was the pre-Brad Pitt day. She calmed down a little bit, I think, but
Yeah, she did.
Very life calmed her down. And stuff,
I think
but
so, yeah.
Before that, she was into
I
some.
forgot
she was
about
into
those
some
days.
Stuff. Yeah,
Angelina Jolie back in the day.
Yeah,
Interesting.
the dark Angelina. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. You now own a billboard. What does it say?
It says, I'm welcome to Northwest Indiana, where possibilities are endless.
Ooh!
I got the plug
that was
in there
beautiful.
for-
I love
for
it. Yeah.
Northwest
See, you
Indiana.
gotta have a little love. Would you rather have the ability to see 10 minutes into the future or 150 years into the future?
Just 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm right on the fence for your answer because I think with what you do, it's probably so rewarding to see 150 years. It's like, how's that double track looking,
Yeah.
But
Gosh.
it's not very helpful for you.
I think, the way my mind works would be complete overdrive. If I knew what was going to happen, I don't know. It's just,
Well, there's going to be an earthquake. Why even build the train?
I know, exactly. It's like,
Whatever it is,
your whole, that is a good question. I'm not sure I'm not 100% sure on that one, but just with me on the safe side, all I can handle is 10 minutes right now.
Yeah, I understand. When do you pack for vacation?
2 weeks before.
Oh, I love it. Me
For
too.
sure. How do people pack the day before?
I don't know, but
or
it's
the
more
day
people than you
of?
would think.
I know.
I just can't do it. I don't know how people
Oh
do it.
no, I'm planning my outfits.
Me
I'm
too.
like, this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Same.
Thursday, Friday. And if it's cold, this is another Monday, Tuesday,
Yeah,
Wednesday, Thursday,
yeah.
Friday.
If there's like an
And-
up and down, maybe weather.
Yeah,
you
and there's
better
like
prep for both.
there's like interchangeable ones. Like I wear this with that, and
Yep.
yeah.
And
It's
then if
all.
it's cold, I wear it like this. But if it's not, I wear it
Oh
like
my
this.
gosh, yeah. I drive people crazy. Like on my notes app, like I am that person. I'm like wearing those shorts with that, on vacation.
I love it so much. I'm like taking
have to.
pictures and then matching jewelry.
Exactly. I'm going on Pinterest for inspiration. I would do
Oh, I
vacation
love
outfits. I am that person.
This is so me. I love it so much.
I drive people crazy. I drive myself crazy. I mean, let's just be honest.
It's fantastic. That's fun. Hero would you most want to be?
Oh, Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, there you go.
I don't know I think I need to almost get a list of women superheroes because most, like for me, I would say Wonder Woman because I don't know a lot of women
Captain
ones.
America? Is that I don't know.
I think that's a boy, right?
There's a female version.
Isn't there,
Is there?
a female version?
Really?
Peggy.
See, I don't
Okay.
know. Okay, I don't know a lot about
I don't know
this.
them either, so this is my show.
But it was like
She's
Brie
British,
Larson.
though.
She's British?
though. It's
Okay.
Captain America, but she's British.
Oh, I thought it was
Oh,
Brie
well that
Larson.
doesn't,
Because it's
okay.
like Peggy from the comics.
Oh, okay, all right.
She's got a British background, but she's obviously Captain America,
Exactly.
so.
Yeah.
I get it.
I don't know very many female ones, and
I don't
that my
either.
aunt used to dress up. She looked like
the
Wonder
original
Woman.
Wonder
Yeah,
Woman?
yeah,
Really?
she did, and she used to tell my sister and I that she drove in an invisible helicopter, and we believed her. We were so young. We
Her
actually
aunt was stinking Wonder
yeah, and
Woman.
she had like it must have been like an old Halloween costume, but we believed she was Wonder Woman.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that so
Yeah,
much.
I know. So I thought that was fun.
Would you rather be forced to sing along or dance to every song you hear?
Oh, both. I mean, I love doing both.
Yes, okay.
I would, yeah. I'm so singing for sure, but you know, I might dance. You know,
You gotta move a little bit while you're singing.
Yeah, if I have a little
A beer or two, maybe.
Yeah. I'll stop. My husband will be the first to go. Sherri, can you stop bouncing
She's
around?
dancing. We have to go.
He literally, he says, he's like, we gotta go. He's like, everyone's looking at you. I'm like, yeah, because they're looking at my dance.
Because have you
moves.
seen my moves?
Yeah,
They're incredible.
Yeah, and if I can get like random people just to like start dancing
Oh.
because I'm doing it, like, yeah, I'm just
You're like,
like,
did you guys notice how cool I am? They
I
dancing.
started that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing that because, or they're mocking me. One of the two, but it doesn't matter.
But who cares?
As
We
long
can
as
live in
we're
a
laughing
life of
about it,
oblivion.
that's
Yeah,
it.
it's fine.
You gotta have fun. You gotta have fun. Yeah.
All right, last one. What do you prefer? Being extremely hot or extremely cold?
Oh, hot.
Me too.
I do not like being cold.
Me neither.
At all.
It's
at
just
all.
like a chill that I never want to.
I am definitely a summer girl,
Mhm.
and I want it hot all the time. I want to be in the pool, and
Yep.
this winter it's got to go. I can't.
I know.
Yeah, and
spring's like knocking, but it's just
I
kind of
know,
peeking through the
and I
door.
like
It's
spring
not
too.
in it.
I do because it like gives me hope that summer's coming out there. But
Yeah.
the older I get, the more like I'm a summer girl. Yeah, I am not I'm not a fall girl. Where
I agree. I get it.
Yeah,
Same.
I don't want to be outside bundled up in a blanket. I
Yeah.
want
I don't
want
care
the
how
sun
cute it
beating
is,
down
it
on
doesn't
me.
matter.
Yeah, it relaxes me a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
So I like that, and I like summer activities and all that good stuff. So
Perfect.
yeah.
No buzz.
Did I do okay?
Yeah, you did fantastic.
All right, that's
Not
good.
a buzz.
So some people get it buzzed, huh?
Some
Like,
have gotten
okay.
buzzed,
Oh,
and
gosh.
some I think one of the last episodes, I can't even remember, it was the last few. We buzzed someone just because their answer was so ridiculous, and
It
I
was
don't even
just-
remember
it was
what
like,
it
yeah,
was, but
like-
it was somebody got buzzed because
Yeah, like
their answer. I was just like, no, buzz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was probably most nervous about that. 'cause-
Really?
Yeah, you said we're gonna do this like lightning round thing, and I thought, oh my god. I need to come up with things on the fly. Like I'm not good
Okay.
at that. Yeah.
Prepped
but
and ready,
those-
but not on
those
the
were
fly.
good.
Well, you did wonderful.
Well, thank you. It was fun. Thank you.
Is there anything else you want to mention? Anything else we didn't talk about that you want to touch on?
I think we touched on so much good stuff today. I do want to thank you very much for inviting me. This was a
course.
blast.
Thank
This is
you.
my very first podcast.
Yay!
So now I can always remember that my first podcast was with Jenny, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Good.
So
I'm super glad.
and the work that you're doing, you and Chris and all you guys are just you really are doing great work.
Thank
and
you.
we always depend on you, for that positive news, and
Thank
we
you.
appreciate all the work that you're doing, for all of us, and the
Thanks
work
a
that we're
ton.
doing, at the RDA to help tell our story too. So we
Of
appreciate
course.
it.
Good news. Yeah, thank you. Well, how do people connect with you, your company, you online? Tell us how to get a hold of you.
We have a website. It's in.gov/RDA, and all of us are on there.
Great.
I'm very easy to get a hold of. We have website, email, cell phone, and you can call my cell phone at any time. Should I give my cell phone number?
Well, it's probably on
or-
the website, I would assume.
Yeah,
So,
so it's on my
go to the
business
site,
card
yeah.
there too. And Dave Wellman from our office, he's really good
He's
at.
fantastic too.
Yeah.
Dave's a
So
sweetheart.
he can, So if you just want to get a hold of him, if you can't get a hold of me directly, or Amy Jacobin, they'll get the message to me. So
Awesome.
that's it.
So visit the website, learn more about all that NWI RDA is doing. Of course, you guys, please join us again for next month's awesome episode. And stay tuned. Make sure to tell all this podcast land that you love us, follow us, all that good stuff. Give us a good rating, and we'll see you next month. Take care.